Hello friends, neighbors, Johnny Whisky Neighbor here. Welcome to the Nook. Welcome to Sunday. So we'll do some samples, but also happy Easter. These are some pretty special samples that I was waiting for a nice long weekend that I could relax with and enjoy. They come from Ray out of BC and they are pretty unusual. This is Michel Couvreur. This is their overaged malt whiskey, about a 12-year-old. And then the Michel Couvreur Blossoming Odd Sherried. A little stronger. Apparently this is a single malt. But what's unique about the work here is the belief that the interaction in oak made most of the difference in treating Scotch. And so I believe Michel Couvreur, and I apologize, I'm sure I'm saying the name wrong, but his belief was to bring over Scotch and age it in Burgundy, France. And that work continues. He's passed away. But his son-in-law and other people in the family are still involved in really selecting casks. So when you come back, if you have any well-sherried Scotch, I'd pour a dram. If you have any of this Michel Couvreur, why not pour some of that? And we'll just share a dram together on this great Easter Sunday. 3, 4. Thanks for coming back. And, what you don't get through the camera ever is when the nose or the aromas that come off a pour really fill a space. And I poured these a good 15 minutes ago, and they have filled this space with a really rich, dark cherry. It just smells like that, almost those cooked cherries. It just really feels like aromatic in this space, which is pretty wild. As I said, these come from Ray out of BC. Ray, you're a longtime supporter of the channel, and I really, really appreciate these samples. I'm going to start with the one that's overaged, malt whiskey, 43%, 12-year-old. It's natural, non-chill filtered, but it's only 43%. Everything I read on their website talks about that dunnage warehouse, the very individual care of every cask that they procure. I think it is the aging, it's the understanding of the cask, and then the determining of the interaction that's going on with the wood is what characterizes this Scotch. Or whiskey, because it's not aged in Scotland, so it can't be called a Scotch. That's why it's a whiskey. But I know it comes over as Scotch. Let's give this a nose and try. This is the 12-year-old, the overaged. I think you'd recognize this right away it's got some of that barley light nuttiness, but the sherry, this one's a light cherry, maybe maraschino, and some other light dried fruits. There is some spicing in here, a little bit of cinnamon. Something else though, it's not quite savory or spicy enough to be clove. But I'm chasing some other spice palette in here. I'll just say, baking spices, that kind of thing, but I'm trying to think there's a unique note. Let's give it a try on the palate. I don't know how to say cheers in French. I really need to. But I'll say sláinte. Lightly creamy, nice and coating. It's quite relaxed on the palate. The spice I'm chasing in the nose doesn't show up in the palate for me. Now I'm quite sure it's all sherry, but I'm getting a little sweetness from a caramel candy type sweetness, like a thicker one though. Some nice early finish, like really nice, a little bit of leathering, slight chocolate, not a lot. Another quick sip. A little more chocolate wafer. Yeah, those chocolate wafers that you put cream between to make those white dessert logs. A little bit of chocolate wafer in there, for sure. Very, very nice dram. Understand it's a little costly, not as much as this one. So I really appreciate the opportunity to try it, Ray. Thank you. To me, if you've never had this, I really say it's kind of playing in a well-sherried 15-year-old Scotch, somewhere in there, 12 to 15. It's got a little more age just in its presence than I would say a 12-year-old, but it still plays like a really nice, like I don't have had a Glendronach 12 in a while, but that kind of Glendronach 12, not as sulfury as the Glenfarclas. It was more Dronic. I haven't had a Macallan in a long time. I probably need to get a bottle just to reset my palate on Macallans. I just haven't felt they're worth it, but this is well put together. Full sherry, nice, relaxed on the palate. Just a nice treat. So the second of these two samples is this Blossoming Odd sherried. It's 45% instead of 43. When I went online to try to find more details, it looks like this is a single malt that's brought over, as opposed to this is a blended malt. So this is still all malt. And also when I went online and just ballpark pricing, it's a place that I never order from because it's over in the UK, but it's Master of Malt, and this was saying around 125 Canadian. This was like 450 Canadian or something like that. So I have no idea what to set you back, Ray. But clearly this is pushing out of my price range a bit. But what is this, 15 to 18, I believe exclusively sherry matured, single malt. It's now called a whiskey, of course, because it's aged in Burgundy, France. And the pictures of their website where the seepages coming out of those barrels in the warehouses just looks incredible. Let's try this one on the nose. That is a beautiful nose. Whereas this feels a little bit familiar. Like I said, 12 to 15-year-old sherried Scotch. You know what you're getting. This is cooked dark cherries. Sweetness of chocolate for sure. So we've got that effect of rich chocolate, sweet, and then cherries. Wow. Like I would say, I've got this crock pot of I don't know what they are, but they're like an old dark cherry mix that you put in old fashions if you want cherries that are orange or whatever. It's a cocktail type thing. But that's this kind of rich, thick cherry syrup type nose. Now, not cough syrup. Don't go there. This is more that real fruit. There's a slight pinch on the back of the nose I get that makes like my eyes come together just a little bit. It's a nice soured note. Yeah, and cooked dark brown sugar. So there's that cooked, bubbling, slightly spiced baking going on with that dark cherry. Beautiful moment. Let's try it in the palate. Sláinte. That is a wonderful Scotch. Coating, thick, rich, slows you down, and actually it's even slightly drying on the finish now, but getting back into the palate. Sweet, balanced, so balanced. A little bit of oak spices. The fruit that's really on the nose, almost too fruity for me, has backed into some nice malt. Wow, that's a pleasure. Better try another sip. That one did bring back some more dark red fruit, some leathering, some cooked cherry here. A little bit of, there's something, maybe like a dustiness. I think I've maybe said before, like an old bookshelf, not in a bad way. Not it's not going to make you sneeze, but it's got a little bit, maybe that's that leathering that you'd get. Oh, and now that I'm talking and I've had a second sip, there is a little, now this spicing is coming through as just a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of heat, not overpowering, but a little bit of heat coming. As I said, kind of drying in a good way, the kind that makes you want to take another sip. This one in the palate would slow you down, I think. It would cause you to pause and consider the moment. I know we all, as tasters, try to avoid the term smooth because it's such a relative term and it's overused in marketing everywhere. But this, with its coating, richness, balanced sugar and oak, sweet cooked sugar, fruit, oak, comes together with that impression. Like it's the kind that you want to lick your lips because it's got that nice, creamy, smooth nature to it. This is really, really good. Really, really good. Unless you like only ex-bourbon or you want peated Scotch, or like there's lots of reasons where people won't reach for this. But if you're looking for a heavily sherried, not sulfury, coating rich dram, this Blossoming Odd from Michel Couvreur is just fantastic. Really, really good. Now, having said all of that, I recently shot a little bit of Benromic, which I like, and I like even the non-chill filtered, I should say the chill filtered 10-year-old quite a bit. But I also like the Cara Gold. I like the tropical notes. I don't mind its edge of spiciness. And many people who I respect said they don't like that one. And I think that's okay. I think it's great. I think we should all be happy to share what we're experiencing in the moments, give as many notes as relates to us. But in the end, all of this whiskey journey is a little bit personal. This, to me, I think even if you didn't like it, would come off as a really a classy dram. This is good. I don't know if I would pay as much as that. It's good, but I feel like I've had similar experiences with some nice 15-year-old sherried scotches. This I have not. This stands out as something truly unique, and I think that chasing down the right climate, the right wood treatment, the right aging location probably has a lot to do with how good this whiskey has come out. Thanks for joining me here. Hope you guys have had just a fantastic Easter weekend. Thank you again, Ray, for these special and unique samples. You guys have a great week coming up.